Unfortunately, it is for real, Chris, and that is why it's a matter of such great concern. And if I can wind the clock back about 4 years, I'm just so very pleased that at the time I had the courage to get up in the party room and say an extradition treaty with China is completely unacceptable. I was vilified. I was called racist. I was called somebody who would be prejudicing Australian trade, etc. But fast forward from 2017 to today, and I think most people will see the correctness of the position that I and a lot of my colleagues took, which helped derail it. But look, for the Chinese communist leadership is a dictatorship and a belligerent and brutal one at that,
Mm.
and they will go to any length, any measure to try and get their way. They bully their people. 1 million of them, as we speak, are in concentration camps, the Uyghur people. But if you're a Christian, if you're a Falun Gong practitioner, if you're a Tibetan, Hong Konger, Mongolian, a Buddhist, you will be under persecution by this government, and they will try to get people back to their country to deal with them in some of the most horrific manner that you could imagine. And so they do engage in this behaviour, and this report by Safeguard Defenders points it out exceptionally clearly that they do this not just to Australians, but all around the world. And in those circumstances, I hope especially the freedom-loving countries of the world are going to take stock and say no more of this and call out this belligerent dictatorship.
You'd hope after the release of this report, Eric, that the agencies such as the Australian Federal Police, ASIO, etc., would take more notice of where our Australian residents are who may have hailed from China, and hope that we can put a stop to it, because 8 Australian residents is 8 too many.
Absolutely, eight too many. What concerns me is that in 2017, when certain elements in the then government were trying to have an extradition treaty with China and we derailed it, about 12 months later, the Australian Federal Police signed a memorandum of understanding with their so-called equivalent in China. And when the Safeguard Defenders wanted a copy of the memorandum of understanding under freedom of information, they were denied access on the basis of this was an agreement with another law enforcement agency. But of course, when you're dealing with a dictatorship, such as in China, then the law enforcement agency is just an arm of executive government, and it's not an independent police prosecuting force as we enjoy in Australia. And so to seek to say that somehow the national security body in China is on an equivalent plateau with the Australian Federal Police is just to misunderstand comprehensively the way that this belligerent dictatorship operates. And so I'll be asking some questions next month at Senate Estimates about this memorandum of understanding. It should be ripped up, and in fact, it should never have been entered into in the first place.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Just a quick one, Eric, on the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing, which is almost around the corner. I notice that there are numerous countries telling athletes, including our own AOC, telling athletes don't bring their phones, don't bring their smartphones to China with them, because they fear that Chinese hackers could hack into their own data and take their identities.
Absolutely good advice from all those agencies. Take burner phones with you, keep your own mobile phone back at home. And also, might I add, it's great to see the large number of countries that are now engaging in a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics, and the latest one is Denmark. So the list is growing, and I hope that the regime gets to understand that freedom-loving peoples around the world will not turn a blind eye to the egregious human rights abuses, and to our athletes and those that might be supporting them. Every good advice is leave your mobile phones at home, get a burner phone.
Yes. Senator Eric Abetz, thank you so much. All the very best for 2022.
All the best to you and your viewers as well.